Hey, hello, join today only. Did anyone join today?
Yes, sir. This is my first class, sir.
Good, welcome.
I am also, sir. This is my first class.
Good. Still anyone? We have a king also. So now, what was the last classes? So we have missed. Okay, it's kind of revision for them. Yes, sir. Can you send what? What do you want? What you want to send?
Continue చేస్తాను సార్ మళ్ళీ స్టార్టింగ్
What was the last class?
సైకాలజీ టైప్స్ చెప్పారు ఫ్యామిలీ సైకాలజీ కమ్యూనిటీ
Nagalakshmi, okay. We talked about okay definition, etc. Okay, what is the definition?
స్టడీ ఆఫ్ సోల్ సైకాలజీ
Yeah, psyche plus logos. Psyche is
soul.
Good.
Logos is study.
Good. But what is the present? But what is the present definition?
Study of behavior of a person or a animals by animals.
Okay, good. Okay, mostly we talk about behavior of persons, human beings. Good. Can you name some basic or applied fields of psychology? Anyone? Anyone it can be? Gracie, can you tell us some applied fields of psychology?
Educational psychology.
Educational psychology, school
Good.
psychology,
Good.
family psychology, community psychology, counseling psychology,
Good.
consumer psychology, health psychology, environmental psychology,
Good.
sports psychology,
clinical psychology.
Clinical psychology. Good. Good. KP Verma, what do you think? Did they miss anything?
rehabilitation psychology.
Good.
Consumer psychology.
Forensic psychology.
Forensic
Clinical
psychology.
Aviation psychology, sir.
Aviation psychology. Good. Verma is with us. Good.
Psychology for women.
Psychology for women. Okay. Women psychology. Good.
Political psychology.
Good. The last
Sports
one is
psychology.
political psychology. Good. Who was that? Sports psychology is good. Good. Did anything we missed out? Developmental psychology? School psychology?
Yeah.
Teen psychology, teenage psychology.
Okay.
Political psychology.
Yes. Already someone told that. Good.
Social psychology, sir.
Neuropsychology. Okay, good.
Social psychology.
Social psychology, good.
Quantitative psychology.
Okay, good. Ergonomics is also a field, okay, where we apply psychological principles. Okay. It is talking about how good we can make use of machinery. That's called human machine interaction. Okay, good. Okay, now my question is, if in all these fields, if psychology is applied, then what would be the scope of psychology? Is it limited, very wide? Is it applicable everywhere? So what do you think?
Yes, it is applicable everywhere.
Okay. Is it wider or very narrow?
Wide.
Very wide. Okay. Educational psychology. So complete education, okay, they depend on psychology. Because learning, remembering. And also we have cognitive psychology, which talks about how we think, how we reason. So learning and remembering, so all these are part of our psychology. Okay, so educational psychology, like that. So if you get a question related to scope, what is the scope, or where all you apply, or what are the different fields of psychology, so this is how you can write about all these things. Generally, a question can be like, what is psychology? Define psychology. What are the different Okay, fields of psychology. Or can you define scope of psychology? Okay, with this, will you be able to write?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
we have remembered so many, even consumer, organizational or industrial psychology. Did you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Aviation psychology. So everywhere, because we're talking about human beings, we're talking about ourselves. So where we are, so there psychology will come into action. You agree with this?
Yes, yes.
So the scope is very wide. So whenever you get these kind of questions, try to pick them, because it is easy to write, because it is all about, okay, as or where all we can apply this particular, okay, principles or knowledge of psychology. Okay, then we will carry on with unit 2, which is talking about, okay, historical and contemporary perspectives in psychology. Okay, this is again, it is going to be a little bit of repetition. Okay, we try to avoid a repetition so that we need to go forward. Okay, so before splitting or coming as a separate field, so psychology was under
Physiology.
if you talk about history of psychology, so they're talking about, so initially it was under
Physical health.
Philosophy.
good. Now they have changed it. First they said physiology. Yes, I heard it, but I wanted I made a pause there. Okay, first it was under philosophy. Okay, as you know, so all subjects were under philosophy. Okay, likewise, our psychology was also under philosophy. Okay, as we talked about, okay, they talked about, okay, epistemology, okay, reality, etc. What is ultimate reality and all that. Okay, so it was under philosophy. And even when we start with our definition, so what is the definition? Psyche plus logos is study of
Study of soul.
Study of
soul.
human
Good. Psyche plus logos, by word it is study of
Soul.
soul. So
soul.
that is how it was under philosophy. So much of influence of philosophy was under it. Okay, generally philosophy talks about, okay, the reality, etc., knowledge, epistemology, and all that. Okay, so this is how they have come up with that particular definition. And initial also it had that particular influence. So it was also they're talking about soul, mind. Okay, this is how it got evolved. And especially when we talk about, so when did this particular psychology got emerged? So it is dated back to 1879. Please write down 1879. Okay, so this is the year when person William Wundt, William William Wundt, Wundth, German psychologist. Okay, so he have started first psychological laboratory. What did he do? What did he do? (1879) first psychological laboratory was established.
In Leipzig.
Yeah, German. Okay, Leipzig University. Place called Leipzig. Okay, so there he have started first psychological laboratory. So that made the beginning of what we call as the psychology, especially experimentation of psychology. So psychological laboratory was officially, okay, got established. So from there, so this is how the so-called field of psychology got emerged, and this is how they mention about the starting or the birth of psychology as a separate field of study. Okay. So when we talk in terms of the official dates, so this is the date 1879 because a milestone was achieved in terms of establishing a psychological laboratory by a person. What is his name? William
William wouldn't.
Wundt. So this is the reason he is considered as father of psychology. Okay, in which place?
German.
German. Leipzig University. Okay, Leipzig is a place. So in that particular place, okay, that particular university, okay, you have started official psychological laboratory. Then from then, in okay, 1890, okay, another person by name William James. Okay, you should not get confused. Okay, William Wundt, then William James. Okay, simple. Wundt is a German name. Okay, William James is an American. So he's an American psychologist. So this is how psychology got spread or got a movement or shift from, or it got spread to Europe to America.
Sir, in which year?
Okay, 1890.
Okay.
So this is how it got start spreading, and William James is a person so who have started or who have spread it or brought it to okay America, and this is how it got started. And what initially they were talking about soul, the reality, okay, the materialistic approach. So now this got shifted to the experimentation because we're talking about establishing psychological laboratories. What did they establish? Psychological, yeah, psychological labs they have established. Okay, they started doing experimentation. So they started doing, okay, trying to look at so how these psychological okay constructs or qualities can be measured. Okay, as we know, quantitative. So in quantitative, what do we try to do? We try to measure. When we're talking about quality, so what are we trying to do with regard to quality? Assess. So assessment of things. Okay, so we can measure certain things, like for example IQ. Okay, we have certain psychological test where we can come to a figure number. But when it comes to certain things like personality, we cannot measure how much of personality you have. But we can try to assess personalities in terms of qualitative terms. So can we measure how good a person is?
No.
No.
We can assign a number,
No.
No.
but we can say good, very good. Can we do that? Can we talk in terms of quality?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how they started doing experimentation. And this is what the beginning of the so-called okay psychology subject. So yes, they were talking about soul, mind, consciousness, etc. But this is a time period, okay, and this is how this particular definition also got evolved. Why did they tell soul? Why did they tell okay all that? So they have a link with this particular history. Okay, that we will talk under schools of psychology. Please write down schools of psychology. Okay, under that we have first one, write down structuralism. Structuralism, STRUCTURALISM, structuralism. So by the heading itself, what it is talking about? By heading, what it is?
Structure.
They're talking about structure.
Structure of psychology.
Good. Not structure of psychology. They're talking about structure of
Schools.
behavior of a person. Good. Schools.
Behavior of a person.
Good. Okay, school. Or what they call it is different perspectives. Different way of looking at behavior of a person. Okay, first one, structuralism. This particular school of psychology or group of people, okay, so it was led by or so-called, who is the father of psychology?
William Wundt.
Okay. Okay, what is his contribution?
Laboratory.
First psychological laboratory was
Established.
okay.
In Leaftown University.
Yeah, Leipzig in Germany. Okay, so this is the person who have come up with this particular school or approach of studying behavior called structuralism. So he is the person who famous this particular approach. He started it. Okay, so what are they talking about? Structure. So to know the structure of what our behavior is made of, so he have come up with a method called introspection. Please write down INTRO, introspection, SPECTION, introspection. Repeat, INTRO, introspection, SPECTION. So intro plus spection. What is inter and okay, intra?
Looking inwards.
Good. Interstate competition, they tell, no? What is inter?
Between two states, something like that.
Excellent. Good. Okay. Between two. This is intra or introspection. So this is not we're looking at other person, but we're looking within ourselves. Spection is to look. So to look within. Okay, what introspection is? Looking within. So now tell me, so how come a person can look into himself? Because to know about behavior of a person, so William Wundt have come up with a approach, okay, that they call it as introspection. So just think about so how this can be done. If I ask you to look within yourself, so what you do then?
Like the behavior of the person, how they are physically.
Okay.
I question myself.
Good. Good. You question yourself. Okay, good. Who am I? Why am I? Why am I here? Why am I listening to this class? Okay. This is how you question yourself. Okay. So this particular person have come up with this particular method, by which he mean to tell that if a person is looking into within himself, okay, if he can go through, look back into his own experiences. Repeat. So what all experiences he have got exposed to, and what is going inside him, or what he is thinking, or what he is, okay, if he tells it outside, can we have access to others thinking, etc.?
No, sir.
Just think about, even in these advanced centuries, at the present times, can we have access to others' mind, etc.?
No, sir. Until and unless they express to us.
Okay, and we're talking late back to 1879. So this particular person have come up with a method. So this particular method is about asking a person to look within himself, look back, what all are his experiences, okay, what he's thinking or what is going in his mind according to them. So if a person start telling, so can we try to know? Can we get an idea?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Little bit.
Okay, you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so unless and until the person tells, we cannot know. Maybe by looking at your faces, okay, we can make out something, but what actually is going through cannot be known to other people unless and until you start telling. You agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yeah. So this is the method of this particular school, which is called a structuralism. They mean that the structure of mind can be studied through introspection. So what it is made up of? They mean by structure what our
Distance study is already fully pura.
what our Farah, please. Okay, mute.
Excuse me, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, is this introspection and the structuralism found by William Wundt?
Yes.
Okay.
We're talking about that only, no? Yeah. So they mean by structure, so what it is made up of? What is the composition? So that can be known if a person starts telling about himself. So this method is called as introspection. Intro is okay, within, spection is to look. So looking within oneself, and when you report that or when you tell that to a psychologist, so this is how they can come to know about your structure, what your mind is made up of. So this is according to structuralism. Up to here it's clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But the question was right that to what extent can we believe that particular information? Can we believe whatever they're saying?
No.
Khatija, what do you think? Can we believe whatever a person is telling?
No.
You getting me? If a person knows the context, what they are expected to, can they make up a story and tell you to fit into that particular situation? Possible?
Yes, sir.
You getting me? Because I don't have access to what his mind is made up of. So this particular method, so whatever is saying, I'm taking it as, okay. So the question rises to what? So to what extent can we believe or genuinity of the information? Do you have any cross-checking to that? So that was the main question raised. So it is subjective. It is not objective or not scientific, or where we cannot cross-check whether it is true or false. So that was the main drawback of this particular structuralism, especially with introspection method. Up to it's clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, after that, the next school which came is about functionalism. Right on? Functionalism. Functionalism. Okay, after William Wundt, who is the person?
William James.
James.
William James.
James.
Yeah, as we know, William James is a person who started psychological laboratory at which place?
America.
Good.
Germany.
Good.
America.
Germany said good. Good. Okay, it's America. So he is the person who have taken psychology to America. So when he have established a laboratory,
1890.
good, 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 good. So when he have come up with a new laboratory, and already the structuralism was having this particular setback of how genuine it is. To what extent can we believe that? Okay, so on that time, so this particular William James, they said, rather than you try to look at the structure, I repeat, rather than you looking at the structure, what it is made up of, and also asking the person to know about what it is made up of, it's better that you look at how good a person is getting adjusted or functioning according to the environment. This is what you have come up with. So what is functioning? We're talking about people, so how they are surviving, how they are getting adjusted, so how they are getting along with the time and the environment where they are into. Okay, so that particular thing they call it as functionalism. So how well a person is functioning in his environment. So this is what called as functionalism. So what is functionalism?
How do we do?
Okay, good. Jaya, what do you think?
How good the person is adjusting with the environment and time.
Good. So how well a person is functioning as a human being. Functioning in the simple sense. So how is getting adjusted to the environment, new challenges, changes, adjustment, etc. So how is successful in surviving? So this particular surviving or adjusting concept was taken from Charles Darwin. Did you remember Charles Darwin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you must, some people might be having botany also, right? I guess combination. Or maybe you have studied at school levels also.
Yes, sir, 10th class.
Good. Good. Katish is even telling 10th class. That's right. So Charles Darwin theory. So what it is saying?
Powerful persons are big and
Okay, your voice is a little bit not clear, but okay. Survival of the fittest. Did you remember this particular term? The process of evolution, though there were many species or many living creatures, organisms, etc. were existing, but the one which were weak, they could not stand the changes or the weather or the environment. So they got died and perished. But the one which is strong enough to handle that particular situations, environments, they have survived, they are alive. And this is how they moved from one generation to the other generation. Did you get? What did Charles Darwin said? Survival of the fittest. The one which is fit will survive. The one which is not up to the mark or cannot handle, cannot withstand, will perish. So this is what the background of this particular functionalism. So this functionalism, as Charles Darwin said, survival of the fittest. So they also started looking at that particular point, and they said Okay, so how well a person is getting along with his environment. So if you try to study that, okay, so that will make up what we're looking at as psychology. What we're trying to look at as a behavior of a person, or this is how we can study, okay, people. So this is according to functionalism. Clear? In simple terms, adjustment or how well a person is getting along with the environment. Okay, what all the things they do, how well they get adjust. Okay, so they talked about that. The next case, behaviorism. 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 Very, very, very influential this particular approach or school of psychology was. And this is how, okay, so this is how we have this particular definition, the present definition of study of behavior. So what is the third school? Behaviorism. Okay, it is very much influential that the definition, the present definition, what we have as a behavior of a person is taken from this particular school only. Okay, so very, very, very influential. And so this particular school was propounded, or it was started by, okay, J.B. Watson. Please write down J.B. Watson. W-A-T-S-O-N. Watson. So J.B. Watson is a person who have come up with a new approach called behaviorism. Okay, so he said, as other thing, anything can be measured, we can also measure behavior in a very objective, scientific way. And this person has said that for every reaction, behavioral reaction, there is a provocation that we call it as stimulus. Did you remember the stimulus and response? Ritika, did you remember?
Yes, sir.
Stimulus and response. I said SR relationship. Kiran, did you remember this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Kiran don't want to talk to me. Okay, stimulus and response relationship. So is said we can also measure behavior in terms of like stimulus and response relationship. So what all our reactions are, behavioral responses are, so they have a stimulus or environment. So environment which is provoking to that, so we are responding. So that response is the behavioral response according to behaviorism. Okay, so under this school only we have, okay, Pavlov. Okay, even Pavlov. Did you remember even Pavlov?
Yes, sure.
Okay,
Classical
Pavlov.
conditioning.
Yeah. In simple terms, what was the Pavlov's experiment?
Dogs experiment.
Good. So can you elaborate so that other people, if they are not aware, let them have an idea about that. Yeah, anyone? So this we have under reflex actions. At 10th class levels, we have this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if anyone is comfortable, just they can tell us in brief. Maybe in the first class also we talked about this.
It checks how the dog actually secretes the saliva when the person or the bell rings.
Okay. In simple terms, the bell which have no connection with food. So over a period of time, you have established that connection where for a bell, it starts salivating. Why it is salivating?
It thinking.
It's remembering of food. Okay, good. Okay. Prediction. So it is, okay, making a prediction that okay, food would be served. Because initially, the person who was bringing food, it got a connection. Bell in no way it was having connection with food, but when it got associated, okay, bell was given, food was served. So over a period of time, okay, so it has established. Hey, who is this Srikanth man? Why is there disturbing? Don't chat, no? So it's live and everyone is looking at that information. Yeah. So this particular bell have nothing to do with food, but over a period of time, so when bell was given and food was served, so the dog have learned that, so whenever there would be a bell, food would be served. So how it is remembering that food would be served, that we can measure in terms of, okay, secretion of saliva. So when dogs started salivating, so this is how they have come to know that, okay, now the dog is start thinking about food. Okay, and also they have done the reversing also, unconditioning, what we call as. Okay, bell was rang, food was not served. Okay, over a period of time, dog also learned or it have come out of that particular bondage. So it started not to respond because repeated it was not given food. So it have understood that, okay, no more food is given. So it need not remember. So it was not remembering this. Okay, so this is what this particular school of behaviorism is talking about, stimulus and a response. So they had these particular experiments. Okay, even in other experiments, they have done it with pigeons. Okay, even Pavlov's is called classical conditioning. The other experiments are called as operant conditioning. So their pigeons, so whenever they were making a correct response, okay, whenever they were making a correct response, so they were given food. Okay, they were rewarded with food. So this is how the so-called animals in the circus are taught. So when they do a desirable feat or a movement as directed by the master, so they would be rewarded. So to get that reward, they start doing the correct act. So this is all the logics behind. So this is the reason which is called as stimulus and a response. So this was given by behaviorism. It was started and popularized by J.B. Watts. It is so popular that the present definition of psychology is based on this particular school only, which is called as behaviorism. Okay. Then the next school which called is Gestalt Psychology. Write down G-E-S-T-A-L-T, Gestalt School. Or they also call it as Gestalt Psychology.
Sir, one time repeat.
Gestalt, G-E-S-T-A-L-T, Gestalt. G-E-S-T-A-L-T, Gestalt. Okay, again, so this particular school was originated or started in Germany. Gestalt is a German word. which means
Whole.
a whole. So this particular school or this particular German psychologist, okay, write down the names, Max Wertheimer, or you can refer to page. Should I tell the page number? Page 29 or 25.
So we don't have
Costa
You
Cohiler.
don't have books? Why?
బుక్స్ ఇంకా ఇవ్వలేదు
Costa Cohiler, sir.
sir రాలేదని
Oh,
చెప్తున్నారు.
really? Okay. then,
కొంతమంది
okay.
దగ్గర ఉన్నాయి సార్.
Okay. Please write down page numbers also. If you get that page numbers, no, just you can look at that.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So Max Wertheimer, Kurt Kofta, okay, Wolfgang Kohler. So Kohler is a person who have come up with insightful theory learning.
once please.
Okay, Kohler. So these three people, they have come up with a new school which is called Gestalt. Gestalt means whole, a form. Okay, so these particular people, they said, in terms of structuralism, etc., when you try to split the complete experience into parts, and when you try to analyze the parts, okay, so these parts may not, okay, make sense. So that is the reason, if you have an experience, if you have a memory, try to look at it as a whole, complete part. Then only it will make some sense. If you try to split them into parts, they don't have a connection, they don't make any sense. So they have given a statement, whole is greater than parts. If you have a parts that doesn't convey any meaning, when you try to look at complete whole, it will make a picture. We have the small toys also, no? Small children, they try to, okay, fix the parts, then you make a picture. Have you seen that?
Puzzles.
Puzzle.
Yes,
Puzzles.
puzzles kind of a thing. So when they try to fit all, they give a picture kind of a thing. So this is what the concept of Gestalt. They said, if you try to split them and look at parts, parts will not convey much meaning. But when you look at whole experience, so it will give meaning. Okay, so this is according to Gestalt. They said, okay, a whole is greater than parts. And these people especially, they have worked extensive research on perception. Okay, principles of perception. Okay, like for example, if you have this film, reel, what we call cinema reels. Have you ever seen this particular reel? Did you ever
Yes,
see
sir.
these reels?
Yes, sir.
Same picture would be repeated many times.
Yes.
But how we can see different movements of people, etc., on the screen?
Because of our persistence of vision, and that reel will be shifted fastly by frames.
We have a projector would be running that particular reel at one particular speed. Okay, so when that particular movement of that particular reels are, okay, casted on a screen, so there we perceiving it has, they have a movement. So that all logic is behind this particular school only, Gestalt school. And even like, for example, if you have the serial bulbs, decoration bulbs, no? So they run in a pattern, etc. They make designs, etc. Actually, do the bulbs are running like that? Or they just light at that particular time period, so which is making the complete pattern or a design? Blinking of lights, you agree with that?
Yes.
But what we perceive it to be as a design, or it is moving, it is okay, what not they do with that. So this is how this particular people Gestalt school, so they worked extensively on this particular perception. So how we perceive. Okay, if you have perception, okay, maybe we'll talk about that. The next school is called as psychoanalysis.
Sigmund Freud.
Hello? Sir, your mic is mute.
Yeah, I know that, but why we came out of this particular meeting? Maybe you have other classes. We have time, no? Another around 7 minutes, okay?
Yes, sir, we have 7 minutes more.
Okay, right. We will continue. Yeah. So psychoanalysis, as we discussed. So one particular time they were talking about only consciousness, but Sigmund Freud have come up with a concept, or he opposed and he said, state of mind can be three. Did you remember? Conscious,
Subconscious and unconscious.
Good. So when we have conscious, the opposite would be unconscious.
Unconscious.
In between, we have subconscious.
Subconscious.
Okay, so Sigmund Freud said, if you look at only consciousness, what a person is aware of, we cannot tell that is the behavior of a person. He said, so there are other two parts. Unconscious, then subconscious. Okay? So most of our behavior is dominated by what?
Subconscious.
Yeah. And majority by unconsciousness. Okay, actually what we are not aware of. Okay, our childhood experiences and especially unfulfilled desires related to two things. I said, what are they? Aggression and sexual instincts, okay, which cannot be fulfilled immediately. So we try to forcefully push them into our unconsciousness. So as they are into our unconsciousness, so whenever they find a chance to get fulfilled, so they try to consciousness and they motivate a person to do that particular act so that they get satisfaction, or what we call as gratification. Then they will perish or go off. So he said our behavior is dominated by unfulfilled, okay, urges or desires related with sexual and aggression and childhood experiences, which are forming a part of our unconsciousness. Okay, Sigmund Freud. Okay, very, very influential.
Hello?
Humanistic Psychology.
Sir, my voice break అవుతుంది.
Can't hear you, sir.
Hello?
Sir.
Why is it coming out? Is it any net problem or why?
Now it's audible, sir.
Okay, we have last one, that is, we have Humanistic Psychology or School of Humanities. Okay, Humanistic Psychology or perspective this. So this particular school, they say that every human being is good by nature.
Sir,
Highest point. What? Sharda?
We cannot
We can't hear you, sir.
Voice break అవుతుంది సార్.
There is a network issue.
voice not sir.
Sir, voice break అవుతుంది sir.
Maybe internet problem?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this particular humanistic school, Sharda Bhai, okay. So this particular school, okay, they believe that every human being is good by nature. Okay, everyone have this natural desires or goal to grow and develop, flourish, okay, be successful, and ultimately reach a stage of self-actualization. Okay, what they believe? So everyone have this natural desires to grow, to flourish. Okay, positivity. So this is how people like Abraham Maslow. Did you hear this name, Abraham Maslow?
Yes, sir.
Abraham Maslow.
You have come up with a theory of motivation. Okay, Maslow's theory of motivation. Okay, so they're talking about motivation. So man is self-motivated. You want to grow, you want to flourish, you want to develop. Okay, so they talk most of positivity. Humanistic psychology. Okay, Abraham Maslow, Carl Rogers. Okay, especially Abraham Maslow, we have a Maslow's theory, hierarchy of needs. So he says there would be needs at each level. So that needs would be motivating a person to reach the next level, and this is how the person will be growing or moving from one level to the other level. So this is from humanistic psychology. Okay, so when it comes to the contemporary or the latest one, so just they have added biological perspective. Please write down biological perspective. Okay, psychoanalytic, as we discussed. Behavioristic, what is behavioristic? Behaviorism. Okay, cognitive perspective. Okay, we will talk about this. Humanistic perspective, just now we have discussed. Then we have socio-cultural perspective. Okay, so we will talk about socio-cultural perspective, then cognitive perspective, then we talk about, okay, biological perspectives in the next class, because most of you have other classes. Okay, I don't want to disturb your other class. Will that be okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, we will continue with another 3 what we are left. Okay, so we will look at that in the next class. Okay, see you all.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we have tomorrow class. No, okay, see you all tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Chalo, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
హలో
Hmm?
పబ్లిక్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ కూడా నడుస్తుంది కదా, అది మనం వినలే, ఏం చేయాలి?
3 classes సేమ్ టైంకే ఉన్నాయి, 10 to 11.
అవును, మరి ఎట్లా వినాలి? ఒకటే విన్నాం. ఇంకో క్లాస్
మ్యాథమెటిక్స్ 11:30 నుంచి 12:30 వరకు.
కాదు, ఇప్పుడు ఉంది కదా సోషాలజీ.
ఇప్పుడు జర్నలిజం ఉంది, సైకాలజీ ఉంది, పబ్లిక్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ ఉంది, 10 to 11.
ఇప్పుడు లింక్ ఇచ్చారు కదా డిస్క్రిప్షన్ లో, ఎక్కడ నుంచి అయితే మనం జాయిన్ చేస్తామో అక్కడ వెళ్ళి యూట్యూబ్ దగ్గర వెళ్ళి అక్కడ క్లాస్ ఇప్పుడు లైవ్ రన్ అవుతుంది కదా, లైక్ చేసుకోండి. తర్వాత ఎప్పుడైతే అప్లోడ్ అయిపోతుంది మీ లైక్ లిస్ట్ లో అవన్నీ వచ్చేస్తాయి. నేను అలానే జర్నలిజం సేవ్
రికార్డెడ్
చేసుకున్నా.
క్లాసెస్ వస్తాయి యూట్యూబ్ లో.
మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఒకవేళ లైక్ చేసుకుంటే మీ లైక్ లిస్ట్ లో అన్ని వచ్చేస్తాయి అవి. తర్వాత మీరు చూసుకోవచ్చు అది అప్లోడ్ అయిపోతే.
అప్లోడ్ ఈవెంట్
అలానే
చూసుకోవచ్చు.
జర్నలిజం తీసుకున్నా.
యా
ఇంట్రోస్పెక్షన్ కి ముందు ఏమన్నా చెప్పారా? హలో
హలో,
ఇంట్రోస్పెక్షన్ కి ముందు ఏమన్నా చెప్పారా? ఏం చెప్పలేదా? ఏమైనా చెప్పుంటే చెప్పండి మ్యామ్ ప్లీజ్.
హలో హలో
చెప్పండి.
మనకి ఎగ్జామ్స్ ఎప్పుడు ఉంటాయి ఏమన్నా తెలుసా?
ఇంకా క్లారిటీగా తెలీదు.
ఫ్రెండ్ గ్రూప్ ఉంది, ఎవరైనా జాయిన్ కావాలి అనుకుంటే మెసేజ్ చేయండి.